and welcome to another exciting edition of Community Report on Channels Television. I'm Victoria Ido. On this episode of the show, we're taking a look at Masters of Ceremony, and we're looking at them in relations to weddings. Welcome to the show. Making people laugh is a job not for the faint-hearted. So when you see a few people who are able to successfully do this, you should doff your hearts for them. Some say it's a gift, others say it's a skill that can be learnt. The later is yet to be seen.
Long man, now they spell long man. Now come see short man. God punish devil. My show they go on, I no come here. Everywhere now also. I just want to show out that there's love within the comedians.
Comedians are one set of funny individuals who crack jokes for a living. In the past, comedians were mainly stand-up comedians who make a living from making people laugh on stage. But today, with the advent of new media, a lot has changed, and there are diverse types of comedians now, like the online comedians, who make a living from producing comedy skits online.
IPO so low. A whole IPO. Now I say we come Highland. I say the people way high for here, they day Highland. The people will come no low. Then the main people, they day mainland.
In Nigeria, there are over 1,001 comedians and more springing up on a daily basis. The reason why new comedians continue to join the fold is because of the cash flow believed to be overflowing in the industry. Whether this is true or not, only the comedians themselves can tell. But one thing is certain. Stand-up comedians have started venturing into core mastering of ceremonies because as it is, it appears there is more money to be made in anchoring events than stand-up comedy. In the past, masters of ceremonies are professionals who presided over events in the most formal and precise way. They're not cut out to make jokes or play around events. Their aim was to get the event running smoothly and promptly.
You want to impress babe. Now you increase in pace. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The girls they go 1010, 1000. By the time they reach 37, you see we are cardiac arrest, they wave them. So yeah, they come now, they come. Only and they say, come on, young and no vessel. How you take do way if you do up to 1,000 press up? It's oh, you are listening to me. Don't mind me, I usually start my counting from 1,000.
But today a lot has changed. Event planners not only invite comedians to double as MCs, they also want a slight deviation from the most precise role MCs play. They want the rib-cracking jokes alongside anchoring the event. These young men we spoke to have been able to transit skillfully between both stand-up comedy and mastering of ceremonies.
Yeah, who the hell is Tiana?
Tiana is the name of any person, animal, place, or thing.
Kukpolui Oluwatosin, popularly known as comedian Xtreme, started out comedy in 2006 as a stand-up comedian in church.
Should I say comedy caught up with me? Because I didn't make much of it. I just used to be, witty, let me put it that way. Talk, make a few friends, laugh, throw banters here and there, So a time came in church. We started in church, the youth arm of my church. Then we needed an MC, a compere for a dinner, which we do often each year. We do each year. And that particular year, I think the budget was not so much. So they decided to use someone in-house. Then they looked at this low quality or low budget upcoming guy and said, come guy, can't you even MC for us? Why are we always going to pay all these men, like, we don't really have much this year. And I was like, okay, I'll try. But I don't get suit. So they said, and find something. Well, my uncle in church, my youth pastor said, go and get something and put together. I went home, got my father's. I never forget this story or experience because I went to my dad's wardrobe and my dad was like, okay, I'll give you suit.
What's for lunch? That's true. I'm hungry as well. I was going to tell you so.
It was a gray or a hash color suit with a pink stripe, then a pink shirt. I was really looking funny. So that's how it all started for me that day. And then day after, kept at it in church and till today.
Cook now? What? So can I just make eba? There's soup in the fridge. Please now, I'm hungry now. Where's your palm oil? Eh? Your palm oil. Maybe palm oil first forever. Hey. What do you want me to do again now? Okay, baby, leave that one. Just make noodles. Let's eat. Sharp. I'm hungry now. Oh yeah, where'd you keep your salt? You said where'd you keep your salt? Don't worry, I'm fasting.
Going into comedy and mastering of ceremonies, he believes the church gave him the platform and the exposure that he needed.
The church actually gave me a platform to be on the same platform with the likes of Buchi, TA, Jedi at the time, ONG, Oli Malam, So then it was, for me, it was a big deal. Like, when did I start? Last year, I'm already performing with these other people. At least, if they mention the people that performed at the show, they go mention my name now. So that's how it all started.
She's talking normal. But I don't know, there's a spirit behind this thing. Once you wear it.
Chinedu Moses, popularly known as Longman Comedian, started his career first as a stand-up comedian like the others. Then he started out doing online comedy. After a while, he made up his mind to focus his attention on becoming a master of ceremony with class. In recent times, he paid attention to weddings, and according to him today, it has paid off.
In this field of ours, entertainment precisely, as you continue to grow, you begin to discover things, and let's just say I decided to carve a niche for myself, and I found out that, okay, I'm very comfortable with this, and this is something that is very good and very easy for me to do, something I enjoy doing, and again, it brings good money. I've been in it for over 5-6 years now, 6 years to be precise. Yes.
International tours on tours. By the way, I've not out of Nigeria before. Yes, I went to Dubai by air.
Also starting off as a stand-up comedian, Babajide Akinwumi, popularly known as Gifted Mouth, started his stand-up comedy with a zeal. But then he ventured into mastering a ceremony after he was encouraged to do so by his mentor.
I started as a zeal for stand-up comedy, something I enjoyed doing, and then, I was one of the few people that was lucky enough to actually have a mentor earlier in my career. So he actually gave me, I think, 3 to 4 years ahead of my peers and colleagues and all that. So I'll remember my mentor asked me, he said, do you want to be popular and funny in this industry, or you want to make money? So I told him, I said, I actually want to just be popular and funny. I just want to enjoy what I'm doing. And then he said to me, he said, it's okay, it's fine. He said, but I will advise you, I will never forget. He said, try and go into MC. It pays more. You will not regret it. If you're an MC, you can also do stand-up comedy. But if you do stand-up comedy, you might not be able to do MC. So try and move on, grow into becoming an MC. And then I grew, I learned.
Over the years, the lines seem to have blurred out, erasing the fine line that exists between masters of ceremonies and stand-up comedians.
An MC normally is supposed to be the event planner. An MC is supposed to be the event planner, but time has changed and all that. So as an MC, you're supposed to be in charge. You're supposed to make sure that the microphone is working. You're supposed to make sure that everybody has been served.
The major responsibilities carried out by MCs at weddings are now all-encompassing.
Everybody does. I tell jokes, we do call and response, we play games, and then the tossing of the bouquet we just have some high points of the event that really we use actually to make sure that everybody they have a lot of fun, and then we use it simultaneously to actually sell our own markets too, so that we get recommended for another event and all this stuff.
As a stand-up comedian venturing into mastering of ceremonies, there are certain qualities that are needed.
Weddings are more social, they are more eventful, so to say. It has glamour. On the other hand, corporate events are not that much of a glamorous event. They're just straight to the point. You don't talk too much. You talk within the context of what the brand represents. You can't start talking about, you have to be very careful about what you mention, so that's the difference.
Who drives better? Who's a better driver? Wow.
With 52 Saturdays in 1 year, intending couples have a variety of days to pick from. And stand-up comedians, now MCs, have a field day deciding which one they would attend.
Over the years, I've been able to study this business, and I realized that, okay, when we're starting the year, it's always very quiet because a lot of gigs happen in December, and January is quiet. Then it picks up gradually in February because of the old Valentine and all of that. And then in March, it drops again. Then it picks up in April, like that, towards Easter, and it begins to grow. Then when it gets to June again, it looks like it's quiet. Then July, it starts picking up again. From July, August down, picks up. So that's how it has been.
And with 5 to 6 weddings to anchor in 1 month, the dry periods are not always as bad as they look.
Like for months like April, I'm talking about the first period, like April, Easter period, you can do like 5 to 6 weddings. Depends, because you have weekday weddings, you have weekend weddings, you have Sunday weddings. So that period is always jam-packed with a lot of gigs. You have Easter Mondays, so it's always like that.
When the dry months come by, it's time to go back at inventing new ideas.
Sometimes it can be longer than, sometimes 2 months you've not gotten any gig. It's always like that. Thankfully, we have other sources of income that we use to cover up for all those periods, and we use that period to work and develop on ourselves, look for new ideas, how to make your event very, very interesting, look for new wedding games, look for new innovations, things that you don't really see at weddings. So we try to implement them, most especially wedding games.
Between the husband and the wife, who loves to take pictures more?
From day one.
Can we clap for the bride? Can we clap for the bride?
One major difference between masters of ceremonies by Toastmasters at weddings is the fact that the new generation MCs have invented wedding games. This culture has gained traction among the young generation.
David, several men are going to come and bow before you in quotes. Even though you are not their maker, but you are the maker of this event. You will touch the hair or their head for 2 seconds or 3 seconds. And you will tell me if that is your husband. Whoever you choose is the person you are going to kiss.
We use it simultaneously to actually sell our own markets too, so that we get, recommended for another event and all this stuff. So games majorly between the couple, between the bridal party, between parents, we do dance competition between parents that are in the auditorium and then, people of our own generation. So majorly games, jokes, and then dance.
You have to get better so that you don't get pushed out of the market. A lot of people want to tell you, I want someone who's vibrant, who is active, who has ginger, in quotes, who's full of life.
And sometimes there is a limitation that comes with playing these games at weddings.
Gentlemen, is this man looking like a full-fledged husband material? I can't hear you.
As a comedian presiding over a wedding, which is relatively a new tough in the comedy industry, proper planning is key.
Planning is a very key, important part of you being an MC. You have to plan before the day. Also, another thing I look out, like when a client reach out to me, I like to know, I ask a couple of questions. What kind of audience are you expecting? What is the age bracket? These are the things you need to put into consideration. When you've gotten these vital informations, it will help you on the kind of games, the kind of jokes, the kind of engagement you are going to use for that particular day or for that particular event.
You have to know, aside just doing it, you have to know how it works. You have to understand the basics of the craft.
And constant growth is as important as waking up in the morning.
Back in the day, weddings just used to be when you sound like you are doing the way, you sound like the way most political hosts or MCs sound these days or around here.
One important addition for this comedian is appearance.
Yeah, because I remember somebody told me that as an MC you're supposed to wear all black so that you're not visible, because people are not there to see you, they're there to see the couple, you know. But sometimes you see a lot of people wear brooch and then you see the MC, you'll be like, no. Even you know that no, this one is no. Normally you're supposed to dress fine, but you know the attention should be on the couple. So you're there for the couple, and then it should be like that.
As it's plugging, you must be shouting amen.
Talking about the fees paid, what determines how much is paid for the services rendered?
When it comes to this pricing of a thing, there are a lot of factors to be considered. First of all, you yourself have to have a fixed price, irrespective of the client calling, whether the client is from Lekki or is from Ipaja. You should have a fixed price. However, this price can be bent sometimes, considering some situations or some factors.
Most of our jobs these days comes from recommendations. So we have a target price that's, okay, this is the least we can go for. And then because, you know, your mentor is calling you and your mentor is saying, okay, this person is coming from me, you know, do this price for them. And sometimes you're lucky and then your mentor is saying, don't go less than this price, which is actually way more than, you know, how much you charge, you know. Then you're just lucky, but we just have a target price, but, you know, it's very flexible.
For me, it doesn't work that way. And that's why I hate making calls or taking calls for events around my mom. And then she hears me. In the days when I used to charge low, as I don't want to put an amount to it, but hundreds of thousands, she'll be like, I'm just giving a typical expression, and I'm serious because she feels like, even her, she doesn't know that. Even she doesn't feel like she'll be like, you you know, that kind of, I don't know if you're getting what my expressions, like she looks down on me because obviously she gave birth to me, so she's like, you.
I don't know whether it's to intimidate we that are still single. The first thing you hear is my wife and I, everything my wife and I, myself, my God and I. So please try and avoid that statement. He used to pepper me, please.
For Xtreme, the principle of winning some and losing some does not come to play, because for him, he believes bringing down your price will devalue you over time.
Most times when I get calls, I just walk away, you know, and then she'll be like, collect this thing and go and if you put that money on this project that you are doing, or is that not something? So and for me, it doesn't work that way, because if you keep bending, you will just remain at a particular level. And that's why I like to multitask and have multiple streams of income. The people who want value will still come to you.
But then, lack of jobs coming in consistently can drive you to going far below your fixed price.
Sometimes you have not worked in 2 months and then somebody brings a job that normally you wouldn't take. But because you know that, no, I really need this job.
One challenge MCs and stand-up comedians face at events is that they're used as feelers. When the hosts are sometimes not fully ready to commence the event, this situation requires wisdom in handling.
Whenever that happens, most times I tell them I can only start when I've gotten instructions from the couple or I realize that they are not around, so we are good to go. Because I don't want this situation where I start and at the end of the day we are now waiting for the couple. When it's time for them to come in, we're still waiting.
Interesting to note is the subtle rivalry that exists between band members and the MC, although it may not exist in all situations.
Sincerely, because those people can frustrate us, because they're actually in charge of our sound. So sometimes during the course of the event, you want them to actually stop the music. But because there's somebody on stage that is spraying them on 1,000 naira, and I'm telling them, please, we want to round off, there's nothing you can do about it. When you start telling them, thank you, they will just switch off your mic.
For a rising talent, mentorship is key in learning the craft of mastering ceremonies, especially as a stand-up comedian.
It's that important that is the only thing, because I'm a proof that mentorship works. When I started comedy, when I started entertainment, when I started MC, the price I charge now, I would never have believed that it's possible for somebody to charge this much, because I would only be working by my own side. But because you have a mentor who has been where you are and is where you want to be, so they have seen it all. So they help you, tell you that, okay, this is how much you're supposed to be charging now. This is your worth. They help you see your worth.
With several experiences to pick from, Longman tells us about his most interesting experience and also his most harrowing experience as an MC.
So this man saw me and said, oh, this guy is funny, he's doing a good job, and he gave me the job. Back then, I think he paid me 30,000, yes. That was the first big money I was collecting as a wedding MC. And when I got there, a lot of mistakes. I couldn't pronounce word well. The bouquet, I call it banquet. There were a lot of blunders. I don't even know if the couple are still together.
And then he also tells us his most interesting experience.
My most interesting experience was an event that I just, the couple called me and asked, what's your price? I gave them, I just jokingly said something very big. I said, okay, send in your invoice. Just like that. And now when I got to the event, they didn't even want me to say, just make an announcement. See, don't worry, just make an announcement. I didn't do anything that day. I was still begging them, sir, please, let me say something now, please. Because they were still holding my balance. I was like, please, let me say, no, don't worry. Everything is fine, don't worry. Let the DJ just, sir, please, let me crack joke. I was begging this man, but he said, no, it's fine. Just make an announcement, and in little or no time, the wedding ended. I was like, wow, just like that.
Xtreme shares a funny experience also that he has had, and maybe not so funny after all.
So I hosted the event, I finished, and then I was leaving. So people were like, MC, where is your car now? I am like, it's outside. So I now when I finished the event, I didn't want to take a vehicle at that place. So unwise of me, I crossed to the other side, and then I now walked back to go and get a bus, so that people from the event will not see me living in public transport. So I went back, I went to enter the bus. Unfortunately, the bus now stopped, carried people at the event, and went, as they entered, MC, you are here. Hope you have not paid, don't worry.
With a variety of MCs and stand-up comedians to pick from, the next event may be as memorable as you want it to be. And that's a wrap for us on the show today. Thank you so much for watching. If you missed any part of it, you can check it on our YouTube channel. You can also send your comments to the social media handles showing on your screen. I'll see you again next week. Till then, stay safe. I'm Victoria. You do. Bye for now.